Hi everybody, it's a dawn vlog today. I don't do these very often, but I felt the need to do something. It's a bit of a personal rant as such in our current climate, and I just really needed to get it out of my system. The first things first is the reason there is a me vlog tonight is because Mike did have plans to do a video, but unfortunately, as it may not sound like much to some people, but Mike really suffers with his IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome. It causes cramps, belly pains, and a lot of frequent trips to the toilet, unfortunately. I hope he doesn't mind me going into much detail on that score. Bless him. But it's a common thing, and he takes over-the-counter medication for it, and tonight he had an attack of it, and it's something that I wanted to just put across, something that's going on at the moment. And I don't know, well, it's quite a widespread thing in the UK that we have a vast amount of sugar tax. Thank you very, very much to the government for this one. Because of the amount of sugar tax now, more and more places are, and it really is sounding like a first world problem, but it's a problem nonetheless, and it's something that needs approaching and it needs sorting out. My husband isn't the only person suffering with this, but anyway, I digress. So, because of this sugar tax, more and more places are decreasing the amount of sugary drinks they have. Now, they're either decreasing the amount or increasing the price. And unfortunately, when it comes to them wholesale buying it, they're also having to pay more, which is why they're increasing the price of it, which is fair enough. You've got to recoup your costs. That's fine. But instead of, a majority, unfortunately, of these places are just choosing not to do that at all. And rather than giving the option, they are just supplying drinks with artificial sweeteners, which is great. But Mike's IBS in particular is caused by flare-ups of... it's caused as a result of having aspartame in particular. He can have sucralose, but he can't have very much of it. Now, aspartame, if he has a drink that even has the slightest amount of aspartame in it, you can guarantee he's going to need pain relief. He's going to need to be laying down. He's going to be needing to go to the toilet. Again, I know this really does sound like a first world problem, but it's something that poor Mike is having to deal with on top of his ongoing health problems already that you are all aware of as well. And I don't think that's fair. And I'm pretty sure that Mike isn't the only person going through this. When this first came out, Mike and I went out for a meal. It wasn't a big meal. We just went to Pizza Hut, and they were no longer supplying, at this time, they were no longer supplying full fat drinks. Full fat as in sugary Coca-Colas or just normal Pepsi. It was Pepsi Max or Diet Pepsi. Great. So Mike can't drink them. In the end, this is where the problem lies, okay? For me, it worked out for Mike to have a drink that he would enjoy with flavour rather than having to just have tap water or iced tea, which Mike does not like to drink at all, or squash, which a lot of those also have high counts of artificial sweeteners. Mike had to have an alcoholic drink. Yes, and I say had to have, because it's not fair for someone to go out and pay for a meal in an establishment and be made to either drink tap water, okay, it's free, but he's still having to drink it, or drink alcohol at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because he's got no other option for flavour. How is that fair? A friend of mine used to have a constant condition of, well, I say constant condition, she had a reliance, as it were, not an addiction, just a constant craving for Diet Cokes. Made her ill. As a result, she didn't drink so much Diet Coke, and her recovery got better. Then she started drinking the Diet Cokes. She got ill again. She ended up suffering, as a result, having some form of aspartame poisoning. How is that fair? Because now, more and more of our drinks on our shelves, in restaurants, in pubs, for soft drink purposes, are containing aspartame. I don't want to sit here and go into this massive health rant about the consequences of high amounts of aspartame in our diet, because the media is just awash with that. We can find that out for ourselves. But this is my personal rant, that tonight my husband, after having to go, again, I know it sounds like really, really feels awful saying having to put up with a drink when we chose to go out for a meal. And I know people can sit here and say, don't go out there. But there's more and more places doing it. You can barely get full fat Coke anywhere. You can barely get barely get normal Pepsi anywhere. It's Pepsi Max or other fizzy soft drinks that also have had the recipes changed to contain more aspartame. Mike's favourite drink, for example, Iron Brew, had the recipe changed because of all the sugar tax and all of the complaints and things regarding their recipe and the high sugar content. Now that's got a completely different recipe with aspartame. Mike can't drink it. And I get where the world is coming from. We need to adapt, improve. We need to make a stance on the whole sugar content, but it's our choice and we should not have that choice taken away from us. Mike has had that choice taken away from him. That's great. If you don't want to stock these full sugar drinks, that's great. But then why should it be at the cost of someone who does suffer with these agonizing episodes of abdominal pains, abdominal cramps? And can you imagine having to constantly go backwards and forwards on the toilet for at least 4 hours of an evening because you've dared to have one drink of Pepsi or one drink of Pepsi Max? What's fair about that at all? It really, really is an awful, god-awful first world problem rant, but it's a rant that's really, really bugging me. I was working in a pub up until very recently, and normal cans of drink, £2, can of Coke, £2.50. Yeah, that's a crazy price. But the option was there. We should be able to make a choice. I mean, it's our decision. If we want to pay that extra and have the sugar, it's our cost. We know what we're getting into with having a sugary drink. But it's either have the sugary drink and deal with the consequences down the line, or having to go with it right now and having the aspartame-fueled drink that is going to cause instant pain. Mike has to have, I'm not going to give the name of the brand because it's not an advertising thing, but it's a well-known IBS relief brand, and we always have to have them in the house because more and more things are having aspartame. We are getting bottles of squash for the kids to drink because, yeah, my kids are little sods. They will not drink water. More and more at the moment, they're getting better because the schools won't allow it, but at home, they should be allowed that freedom of choice. You wouldn't want to go out and drink water all day, every day. You'd like an option of flavour. You get these flavoured waters. They've got sweeteners in them. Mike can't drink them. Get a bottle of squash. Got sweeteners in them. Mike can't drink them. And Mike, I can guarantee, is not the only person suffering with this. And I just wanted to bring this to attention because I really don't think it's fair at all. You don't want to do that, that's fine. But why should we be the ones at cost of it? Because, yeah, you've probably just saved yourself some money and not buying these full fat drinks. At what cost? What? It's customer based. And if you want more people to come in, give them that option. Give them that chance to have a drink that they would choose, rather than having to have an alcoholic drink because they just want something with flavour with their meal. It just absolutely boggles my mind. And it's just a massive rant, and it's mostly directed at the current government's stance on tax anything and everything. And that will make everything better. Well, that's great. Wonderful for you guys who have all the money for your second homes and your golfing holidays. And when you go on said golfing holidays, you claim expenses on your second home that's maybe half a mile away from where you really are. It's absolute bullcrap. How is that fair on the everyday Joe? So yeah, that's why there's a vlog tonight, because I needed to have a rant, because I'm sick to the back teeth of my husband having to go through this time after time when I want to take him out for a celebratory meal. We work hard. We work bloody hard for our money, and we're having it taken away by taxes or by the fact that my husband's having to constantly buy this medication because he wants to have a nice drink. Come on. Get with the bloody programme. So yeah, this is the first video from me for today. Tomorrow night, or possibly tonight, I haven't decided if I'm going to stream or if I'm going to be doing a video for Monday night, but I'm doing stuff this weekend because it's my bloody weekend off, and Mike deserves a break because that little bastard works fucking hard, alright? So I'm here, I'm taking over this weekend. He's going to be putting in his little editing quips as he does, but I just wanted to put that out there. But most importantly as well, on this vlog, I just want to thank you guys, because a lot of the times when Mike's not been able to do a video, that is the reason behind it, because he's had an IBS attack, because he's had a drink that's got aspartame in it. And that's just ridiculous. My poor husband has to I know it's the same for people with all sorts of dietary conditions, but aspartame is more and more widely accepted in drinks, in all sorts. And I really don't think that manufacturers or businesses supplying sustenance with this chemical in it, I don't think they're really truly understanding the consequence of this, and it's going to have a long-term effect and detrimental effect on them, because people are going to stop going. People are not going to want to go out because they're not going to want to go out and have water with a nice meal. How's that nice? How's that fair? Mike, I keep saying my husband, I'm still in work mode. Mike doesn't like wine. He likes his fruity ciders, and okay, in the grand scheme of things, for him, it was probably a happy little thing to pay that 10p extra and have a nice drink, and to have one of his fruity ciders. I'm pretty sure he didn't loathe it too much. But the point I'm making is that that's just ridiculous. If you want a nice drink, you've got to have something alcoholic. Come on. So guys, please wise up to the flipping aspartame invasion, the sweetener invasion. I'm a big girl because I like my sugar, and that's my choice. Don't take that away from me, or add extra, God knows how much extra, just to make yourselves feel better about reaching health quotas or our failing NHS, which has nothing to do with said obesity crisis, more to do with the fact that of our lack of funding. But again, that's a rant for a completely different day. God knows I could go into one. My nurse training fell on a back foot because of the bull crap that the nursing staff have to put up with in the hospital due to NHS funding. Nurses and student nurses are not getting the one-to-one time with a patient that's required, and most of the time the one-to-one with a patient comes from the healthcare assistants, and those guys are bloody awesome. They take so much flack, they take so much gumph, they deal with so much on a daily basis, and they've not gone through that registration, and they deserve bloody gold medals for what they have to put up with. Because with the fact that nurses are having to go through more and more paperwork and having to go through the massive rat race of trying to discharge a patient in such a time to reach their hourly quotas, healthcare assistants are having to pick up the slack, and it's exhausting them. It's making them ill. It's making nurses ill. It's making our junior doctors ill. It's just not on. It's making all our doctors, it's making our whole healthcare system unwell. And how is that right? How is it fair for our unhealthy healthcare system to make us better? There's no logic to that at all. And it's this government can go, oh, well, we go to these hospitals. They have their own little special private waiting areas where they don't have to deal with the normal people. But again, yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent again. Crux of it is, Mike's had an IBS attack, again, due to the aspartame. And just be aware of it, guys. Always make sure. It's common sense, but unfortunately, you pick up a drink when you're thirsty, you don't think to look at the label, just make sure you read what you're drinking. Because aspartame it's a poison. It's just lethal stuff. And in the long term, that's going to have just as much of a detrimental effect on our bodies as having to have sugar. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'd rather take the sugar, because you can lose the weight, and there are now techniques to reverse diabetes, and there are ways to do it through when it's first detected. There was a gentleman who lost so much weight and gained such a healthy style of living, he reversed his diabetes. How amazing is that? So we have the means to do that if we can apply it, and if we're given that access. Aspartame, it's a chemical. It's in there. It's ingested. It's going to it's going to do the damage the moment it goes in, as I'm seeing poor Mike go through on an almost weekly basis. And thankfully, at the moment, because he's now having to pay more and more attention to what's being drunk because of the influx of aspartame in any everyday occurrence, he is having to be more aware. And this is the first time, because we dared to go to Subway for dinner, for lunch, and he wanted a Pepsi Max. He just wanted a nice drink. So, yeah. But that's my rant for the day. This is my dawn rant, okay? So if you want to hear any more dawn rants, give me a topic, and god damn it, I can rant for bloody England. I'm just on one tonight. I went out tonight and I've had a bit to drink. So yeah, this is going to be a good one. So yeah, awesome sauce. But please, 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 thank you. And remember, you guys have been amazing in bearing with the patients. And I say patience, you're just amazing. I think it just comes naturally to you. So I don't really think it's patience. I think it's just more understanding of Mike's ongoing health conditions, and just, yeah. But I wanted to make sure you guys had something up there, because I know Mike feels guilty with how things have been recently with the summer holidays and me having to go through what happened at my last job. It wasn't a great time for us, but it's on the straight and narrow now. We're back on track, and I just want to make sure that Mike gets what he deserves, because he works hard for you guys, and I know you guys see that, but I wanted him to know that I see that too, and I didn't want him to go without or lose out on anything. So, and I'm going to go now because I'm getting very emotional. Alright guys, thank you ever so much, and I will either see you later on or probably tomorrow for Monday night's video for the next part of 2 Point Hospital. Anyone who is watching and who is watching my recordings or my videos for 2 Point Hospital, if you wanted to let me know if you want me to 3-star hospital, if go on to the next level, that would be great. The world is our oyster, and I'll let you choose what direction we're going. Alright, thank you ever so much, and thank you for listening to my massive dawn rant. Take care, laters potatoes.